What's up, world? Let me tell you about this beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft, how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Now, it is so much going on. Um, at 3:45, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump says the Native Americans are not citizens. They're not in the Constitution, and they should not be recognized as citizens. So he didn't do so well in the Supreme Court, but y'all know Donald Trump, he ain't gonna give up on this. He's gonna keep going until he gets what he wants. That's usually how he operates. But as it stands, he is saying and he's challenging the citizenship of the Native Americans, or we call AKA the Siberians. So we'll talk about that at 3:45. And also, the UK is running out of fuel, so is Scotland. So we'll talk about that as well a little later, but this is crazy. So we're going to talk about Donald Trump declaring victory multiple times in the media. And in all honesty, if Donald Trump had himself together, your daily briefings about the war should come from your generals. This is where the generals should get in front of the public and explain what's going on. But because him and Pete Hegseth have fired everybody, this is why you got Donald Trump sounding like a broken record in front of everyone in the public, on TV, day in and day out, just repeating the same stuff over and over. We already won. We already won. We obliterated them. It's the same rhetoric. If you had your general, he could really get into specifics on what's going on over there, how the US is doing, what the Iranians are doing. That's their job. But since they don't want anybody doing a real job, we got to look at Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, who both sound like they didn't finish the third grade, address us every day, and both of them sound like straight up liars. In fact, I haven't come across many people that even believe Donald Trump. Most people know he's lying. So let me go ahead and share my screen. That's nice. All right, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Well, yeah, the Iranians are fighting the war like pros. That's why their generals can talk. Their foreign minister, you see them talking, you know, but you don't see their supreme leader in the news every day babbling about the war, because that's not his job. He got other people hired to do that job. See, they know how to delegate and give things to proper people to speak about. Over here, because he came in office and allowed also Pete Hegseth to fire a bunch of generals. Now we got to listen to these two clowns explain the war, which they're not explaining nothing, just babbling over and over that we already won. We already won. That ain't no information, y'all. I would rather for them to say nothing than to continue to get on TV saying the things that they're saying. All right, y'all. Thanks for the ones.
And as we take decisive action to stop the threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury. Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You know, you can only do. And we've won. Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. But we won. But they gave me a list of names at general. Sir, you can pick the name you'd like, sir. I said, the name of what? The name of the attack on Iran, sir. And they gave me like 20 names. And I'm like falling asleep. I didn't like any of them. Then I see Epic Fury. I said, I like that name. I like that name. It's been just 1 month since the United States military began Operation Epic Fury, targeting the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them terrorist regime they led, are now dead. Their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is being decimated as we speak. Their ability to launch missiles and drones is dramatically curtailed, and their weapons, factories, and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Very few of them left. Never in the history of warfare has an enemy suffered such clear and devastating large-scale losses in a matter of weeks. Our enemies are losing in America, as it has been for 5 years under my presidency, is winning, and now winning bigger than ever before.
He said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished. So we've had regime change. You look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed. They're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated.
In this excerpt, Trump claims the United States has decimated Iran militarily and economically, and then treats that boast as permission to rewrite the rules of global security on the fly. He argues that countries dependent on oil moving through the Strait of Hormuz should take responsibility for protecting the passage with the United States, merely helpful rather than leading. Then he goes further, urging them to go to the strait and take it, protect it, and use it for themselves. Because in his telling, the hard part is already done. That is not strategy. It is swagger dressed up as policy. The word decimated is not evidence. It is theater designed to make complexity disappear and to sell the illusion of total control. But the hard part in any conflict is rarely the first display of force. The hard part is preventing retaliation, stopping escalation, protecting civilians, keeping allies aligned, and avoiding the miscalculations that turn a flashpoint into a regional fire. The Strait of Hormuz is the definition of a flashpoint. It is a narrow maritime corridor where a single provocation can ripple through shipping, energy markets, and regional security. When a political figure casually suggests that other nations should simply seize a strategic choke point, he is normalizing the kind of brinkmanship that can invite confrontation and spiral fast. Responsible leaders talk about sea lanes with care because words can move ships and change risk. Trump also wraps the whole thing in grievance. He scolds countries that refuse to get involved, frames their caution as cowardice, and claims America had to act alone. that is the MAGA foreign policy pattern. Allies are freeloaders, cooperation is weakness, and coercion is leadership. Then he pivots to a transactional pitch, telling them to buy oil from the United States as if military pressure and commercial advantage should be fused into one lever. Finally, he promises that once the conflict ends, the strait will reopen naturally, oil will flow, and gas prices will rapidly fall. That is political comfort food. Volatile regions do not stabilize because a leader declares victory, and markets do not calm because bravado demands it. The approach he sells is more likely to increase uncertainty than reduce it. This is why Democrats and anyone serious about national security should reject the performance. Strength is not conquest language and seizure fantasies. Strength is discipline, deterrence, lawful coalitions, clear objectives, and the humility to admit that the aftermath is where nations pay the real price.
President Trump has declared victory over the Iranian conflict. Listen to this.
We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy, and they have no Air Force, and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it.
I want this conflict to be over, but what I do not want is to be lied to by our government. Shocker, right? Iranian officials have come out and stated that everything that President Trump said today is not true. And in this video, President Trump continues by saying that Iran has no navy or air defense. So if the United States wanted to, they can go in and take their power plants. They can go in and take the Strait of Hormuz. But we all know that that's a lie, because if that was the case, the president wouldn't be asking NATO for help. And if Iran doesn't have any air defense, how did they shoot down one of our jets? I'm also going to add on that the Pentagon did come out today and stated that 3,000 82nd Airborne troops were going to be deployed to the Middle East. I also want to add on that Iran actually continues to strike Israel. And a few days ago, some of Iran's missiles almost made it to Europe, or did make it to Europe, but it was taken out. And let's not forget that Iran came out and stated that Russia and China have been funding them with weapons. And then again, yesterday, North Korea came out and said that they're ready for the United States, insinuating that they have Iran's back. So like I stated previously in other videos, we want this conflict to be over. We do not want to lose American lives over another country's fight. And as always, we want America first. But this is not it. Lying to Americans about what is actually happening to boost your ego is not it. So for as much as I want to believe the president, the facts show otherwise. But let me know what you think in the comments below.
How's the war going?
President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday said he's already won the war.
Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won.
You don't like to say you won a war? Isn't that why you fight a war? Be proud of yourself, Mr. President. You ended another war. And this is the one that you started. Like, that's like double points, you know? But you heard the man, we won this war. I bet Iran's begging for a ceasefire right now.
Breaking news, Iran's state-backed media now says Tehran will not accept a ceasefire.
Iranian officials' quote is that Iran will end the war when it decides to do so, when its own conditions are met.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You can't end the war. We ended the war, all right? You trying to start another war? Because I'll fight you, and then I'll stop fighting you when I feel like it, because the war is over. You heard the president. We won. We're bringing the troops home.
More than 1,000 additional troops from the 82nd Airborne Division are heading to the Middle East. They'll be joining thousands more Marines, sailors, and other American troops already on their way.
Oh, shit. We're sending more troops? That doesn't sound like the war is over. This is very confusing. Should I or shouldn't I go to Times Square in my sailor outfit to kiss random women? Mr. President, I thought we won.
We've won. Let me say, we've won.
Of course we won. Those troops are obviously going there to help set up for the victory party, you know? You ever try to set up a bouncy castle with just 1,000 troops? Now that's an impossible mission, like Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire. And besides,
so Donald Trump just declared victory over Iran. He has defeated the enemy. Let's talk about that. So Donald Trump just posted this to his Truth Social, and it says, the United States of America has beaten and completely decimated Iran, both military, economically, and in every other way. But the countries of the world that receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage, and we will help a lot. The U.S. will also coordinate with those countries so that everything goes quickly, smoothly, and well. This should have been a team effort, and now it will be. It will bring the world together towards harmony, security, and everlasting peace. President Donald J. Trump. Wow. Mission accomplished. We have defeated Iran. Crazy. Why does this sound so familiar? I swear that I've heard this declaration somewhere before. Where did I hear it? Oh shit, yeah, that's where I remember this from. Do you remember this? During the Iraq War, when President W. Bush there said that, mission accomplished, and they had won the war in Iraq, and then it went on for another 8 or almost 9 years. Yeah, see, and in the meantime, they ended up losing about 4,300 more soldiers during the war. Yeah. So when Donald Trump is posting and claiming that, all's good and well, and they've defeated Iran, but we just need help, though. We just need help protecting that strait, where all the oil tankers and such go through. He's full of shit. He didn't beat anybody, because if Iran was defeated, then he wouldn't need to protect that strait anymore. But here's the thing. Donald Trump knows that this war is not making him look good. He knows that the price of oil is going up. A lot of countries are probably getting pretty mad at him, too, because this affects prices of oil worldwide. Countries. And well, he's also losing supporters. He's losing supporters in the media. He's losing supporters in his influencers. Right now, people are realizing that this war is not America first. It's very much Israeli first, right? Israel first. And so he needs to do, damage control now. So if he's going to have to do damage control, he's going to have to make sure that all of those oil tankers, all of them are getting through and everything gets back to normal. And now he needs help. And this is his way of begging. He makes it seem like he's big and bad and he managed to do, he beat Iran. No, he's begging for help. That's what that tweet is about. He is begging other countries to step in and help him because he fucked up. And he just can't admit it. But it is so funny to me that he actually had the gall to post that. And he thinks that, yes, the most dedicated, the most loyal MAGA people are still going to think that what he posts is gospel. So they will still support him no matter what. I mean, God, if they couldn't get past the grape accusations and the PDF stuff, right? This isn't going to shake them. But the truth is that a lot of his other supporters are done. They're done with him. And he knows it. And he knows the midterms are coming. And he's scared. So he is desperate to control the narrative now. He's desperate to control all the damage that he's done. But oh my God, we beat Iran, yes. Only in your fucking dreams, buddy. Anyways, I want to know, what do you guys think of this? Do you think this is just like we're reliving the Iraq war all over again, like beat per beat? Do you think this is a new fresh hell? Just comment whatever you really want in the comments below. And if this is your first time seeing my video, I talk a lot about politics, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
Breaking news. This is how you know the U.S. wants out of this war. They are now telling the media they have won decisively. How they won? I don't understand that part. I know what I've been seeing in reporting, and Iran has not backed down one bit. They continue the bombardments undeterred on Israel and hitting the Gulf states. Check out this clip from Pete Hegseth.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You're spot on. Never in history has a modern military, Iran had a modern military, a modern navy, a modern air force, modern air defenses, leadership, massive bunker. Never has a modern military been so rapidly and historically obliterated, defeated from day one with overwhelming firepower. The air campaign that we've conducted, that Israel's conducted alongside us, was one for the history books, truly.
Iran's standing army is intact. Only the Navy and Air Force have been hit. Iran can fight a defensive fight on its soil for at least 4 to 5 years. I would not even say the Navy is gone. It has not even been activated yet. Iran knew the conventional ships would quickly get destroyed, and they planned for that for decades. Most of their navy is speedboats, armed with missiles, hiding in tunnels throughout the strait, waiting for hostile ships to enter. Plus, they have many submarines with torpedoes ready to go. But anyways, Trump's main objective was regime change. Where's the regime change? Now he's saying because he killed the original leaders and the successors took their place, that is considered regime change. Watch what he says.
Do that, but let's see how they turn out. We have really regime change. This is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
Wow.
Contradictions in every statement. President Trump just said we've essentially won and that the war in Iran is nearly over. He claims our military has destroyed much of Iran's naval, air, and missile capabilities, and that we're very close to eliminating the threat entirely. Here's the part nobody's talking about. At the same time he says it's almost over, he's also warning that we'll continue striking hard for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that raises a bigger question. If the war is nearly finished, why is further escalation still needed? Because this might not be about ending the war. It might be about ending it on our terms. And if that's the case, we could still see more strikes, more instability, and more pressure across the region before anything actually stops. Now, to be fair, some believe this is exactly what victory looks like: overwhelming force, fast results, and forcing Iran to back down. But if the war isn't truly over yet, are we witnessing the end or just the final phase before something bigger?
And we've won. Let me tell you, we've won. You never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the battle.
Yeah, that was Trump declaring victory 5 times in 10 seconds. Meanwhile, the very minute he was declaring victory 5 times in 10 seconds, Iran blew up 2 ships in the Persian Gulf.
Today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump essentially said he's giving up in Iran, saying that we don't even need a deal with them to end the war. And he also falsely claimed a regime change has taken place and they're never going to build a nuclear weapon. Take a look.
We're negotiating with them right now. They've been, again, we have had regime change. Now, regime change was not one of the things I had as a goal. I had one goal. They will have no nuclear weapon. And that goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear weapons. But we're finishing the job.
He says negotiations have taken place and their regime has fallen, but here's what Iran's foreign minister of the same regime had to say today. No negotiation has taken place. We have not responded to the U.S. proposal and we have not given a counter-proposal. Trust with the U.S. is at 0. We are waiting for their ground troops. Today, Trump also said Iran doesn't even need to make a deal with us for the U.S. to end its military operations and leave the war. When a reporter asked him about this today, he clarified that a formal diplomatic agreement is irrelevant to the timeline of a U.S. withdrawal, which he predicted could happen within 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even days. It seems like Trump is getting ready to falsely declare.
Donald Trump has ended the Iran war 7 times in the past 48 hours, which means he's now solved 15 wars. Can we get this man his Nobel Prize already?
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, winning the popular vote was very nice, very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's great. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races. And I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady.
Donald Trump says Iran has asked for a ceasefire. None of this is true, and let me tell you what Trump is doing. Trump is giving a speech to the nation tonight. He's been saying things this morning like the U.S. is going to leave Iran pretty quickly. And in regards to Iran's uranium, says it's so far underground, I don't care about that. We'll always be watching by satellite. Iran is saying that none of this is true. The United States has lost the war, and the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed. Trump seriously is looking way out of this war. He's going to try to lie to everybody and say that the things we've done so far means a victory, when in in reality, we haven't accomplished anything. The situation now is far worse than before the war, so Trump has to paint a picture that it's somehow better. That's why he's been posting paragraphs and walking back some of his previous statements. He now says regime change was never really a goal, the nuclear enrichment was never really a goal, and instead it was about deteriorating Iran's military. Sum it all up, the United States did not meet any of their goals. They lost the war, but Trump is going to try to paint a picture that we did this, and that's enough for a victory. And if he doesn't want to accept a fake victory, he's going to invade to try to win that way.
So, y'all, the arrogance of this man, but we know he's lying. Donald Trump is just, I think we all just have to accept the fact that Donald Trump is never going to tell the truth about this war because the U.S. is losing. So is Israel. And if you want to know what's going on, you're going to have to go to foreign news. U.S. news is no good. You have to go to foreign news if you want to learn about what's happening. They are at least reporting the truth, and the U.S. is not winning at all. So Donald Trump, I guess, maybe the dementia is kicking in, I don't know. But this man, I never thought I would say this, but as soon as his lips start moving, I know not to believe nothing that's coming out of his mouth. If I have to reflect back on all the presidents, none of them are trustworthy. None of them are. They all lie. But Donald Trump takes lying to a whole new level. He really does. He takes it to a whole new level altogether. So, y'all, thank you for being here. My next live will be at 3:45, where Donald Trump is fighting the 14th Amendment. Who has birthright citizenship and who doesn't. And he is saying also in this fight that Native Americans, those that are labeled Native American, are not citizens. And he wants to take their citizenship away because he said they don't have citizenship. Remember, they didn't become citizens until 1924. They were never put in the Constitution. That's very telling. They put us in the Constitution and gave our forefathers and foremothers citizenship before the ones that they call Native Americans. That in itself is interesting. But I know why they did that. Because the Aboriginal are us. And they couldn't put them ahead of us in the Constitution. They couldn't do it. So, y'all, I will see you then. Shalom, family.